Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse co-pro show with my guys from Nick of Time. Welcome, J Ellis and Lee Escobedo. It's great to have you guys.
Yeah, man. It's good to be here, George. It's good to hear you.
Definitely. I'm so glad you guys can join me here today. It's a good day to talk about the Knicks. We barely beat this team last night that we should have completely destroyed. And now we're playing against a team that we haven't beaten in a while. Yeah, Toronto. It's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about some rumors, some trade ideas. The three of us actually saw a trade rumor from Bleacher Report that didn't make us gag, throw our phones, smash our computers. We actually were like stunned that it actually made some sense. So we'll get into that as well. And we'll preview the game with the Raptors. And just talk about the upcoming schedule in December is pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty. It's apparently we have the hardest schedule in December in terms of opponent's strength schedule.
I mean, we had the toughest start, top 7 toughest start in the season to begin with. So, why keep that trend? Why veer away from that? Let's just keep testing our vigor and see what happens. Pressure bust pipes, George. Pressure bust pipes.
That's right. Well, Lee, welcome, brother. It's been a minute.
It has.
Hope your mom is recovering.
I'll deal. It looks like she's probably going to have her leg amputated, which is horrible. It's shocking news. Luckily, she was very well medicated, and we were able to have some laughs. My mom loves making fun of me, and I love making fun of her. So we were just trying to roast each other. We were laughing so you don't cry. That like age-old adage. My family strongly believes in that. So tough news. I walked in like 10 minutes after she heard that from the doctor. So I was like, Mom, I go home and pod because I'm gonna go crazy if I don't hang out with my guys, man. I need some Knicks talk after that unbelievable news.
This is where the roasting comes from. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Well, that's some tough news. Sorry to hear that, but you can live without a leg. That's for sure.
She definitely won't have the pain. So there's a silver lining there.
That's good.
Absolutely.
And J Ellis, is there anything you want to start the show off with? Any thoughts from last night? Anything that's been percolating?
Any thoughts from last night's victory over?
Just the state of the Knicks and the NBA itself. Just a little free for all before we get into talking about the grades.
I don't know. I'm glad we won. Because last year, even 2 years from now, we have these letdown games where we would face these teams we're supposed to beat, and we would never beat them. This year, we told the line, but we still haven't lost to the team that we are supposed to beat heavy-handedly. Maybe you can say the Phoenix Suns is an exception, depending on how you look at it. But I'm happy where we're at for the most part. Of course, I want to see some changes. I want to see some improvements with the ball movement. I want to see some improvements with the 3-point defense. But overall, I think our team is in a good place, and I feel like we're starting to grow into the direction we want to go to. But I think the biggest test will be the top tier teams, because I want to beat the 76ers, the Bucks, the Celtics of the world.
Yeah,
to really put a stamp on. All right, we here. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now with the team.
All right. Yeah, I think it'd be nice to beat a real top echelon team soon.
Yeah,
I think the fans. It's like the last question mark that fans have right now before they really buy in on this team. I've already bought in. I think it was I don't know, it was last night's recap or the one before that. Towards the end of it, I basically said that this team really has everything it needs to go really deep to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, if healthy.
Really,
if healthy, I do. I think, and I looked at some numbers because they're trying to play the right way to win in the playoffs. Last year, for example, last year this team was a beast on drives, right? It's the number one. It was like one of the number one teams in drives. Here we go. Yeah, last year they averaged 32.7 points per game off drives. That's number in the NBA. Now that's Brunson and Randall just feasting. Right. This year, we're 14th in the NBA. Now that's going to rise, though. That efficiency, we're starting to see it with Brunson. We're starting to see it with Julius. Julius, by the way, is playing. He told Stefan Bondi, "I'm playing, bro." So Julius,
I guess is that surprising? Really, I guess not.
not at all. Not at all. But last year, in terms of pull-up points, the Knicks were 10th in the NBA, 21.8 points per game. This year,
between Brunson and Quickly, now that's probably
we're at 5. We're the 5th best in the NBA, 5th best, and 10th best in field goal percentage in pull-up points.
Brunson and Quickly again,
and that So, because in the playoffs, of course, it's going to be a grind. You're going to get into the half-court game grind, but the way that you supersede that is just get out there on the break. If it's a 2-on-3 and you have the ability to just pull up and snap off a 3, it's actually a good shot. It's actually a good bucket. You don't have a hand in your face, and you're in your own motion, your own fluidity. And we're seeing Quickly do it. Brunson has been unbelievable at it.
George, is funny because actually last year I was saying I wanted Brunson to take more threes. And in general, that's why I was so high and Quickly when he first came into the league too, because he was actually attempting those. Now he's taking that out of he was pulling up from the logo for year one. Now he's taking that out of his shot diet, which I understand. But for us, for smaller guards in particular, when you're overwhelmed by size, the way you kind of combat that is that pull up 3.
Mm-hmm.
You hit that pull up 3. Stretch the defense.
Even 2-3 feet behind the arc.
Exactly. And now those driving lanes, you was talking about how we were number one in drives, that opens up the driving lanes, and now you're causing havoc. So I'm really happy that Brunson he's upped his 3-point shooting by 2 this year.
Yeah.
And it looks like Quickly. I haven't checked the number, but it looks
we always talk about stretching the court, but we really look at it, we think of it as like horizontally, but those stretch vertical. Yeah, and that really creates more ability to cut for cutters as well.
Exactly.
Once we got to keep playing this way. There's been regressions. We've seen it. There's like one game where we're unbelievable at it, and then we regress back and become the ISO team. But in isolation frequency, last season, we were 4th in most isolation frequency. And in possessions, 3rd. Points per possession, we were 7th. So our ISOs, we were just shy of 1 point per play, per possession. We were at 0.99, so it was almost a wash. But our field goal percentage was 44.9%, almost 45%, which is 5th best in the NBA in ISOs. So it was our bread and butter, and it also worked. But
Brunson again, yeah.
It doesn't work in the playoffs. It's a grind on the body. The pounding, the ISO, trying to constantly work to get your own shot like that, even trying to fight around a screen that your own teammate has put for you. It's a lot of wear and tear. By game 82,
I'm gonna push back on that a little bit, George. Like, I do feel like sometimes in the playoffs, the thing that does get you over the hump is having that ISO player. But the grind part that you're talking about is why we need to incorporate more ball movement, because that does wear on you.
Yeah, we definitely need the ISO. You need to have that ability, and we've got that. But to rely upon it as your sole means of creating offense,
not a good idea.
It's tough.
You know what that tells me? Tibbs is evolving.
Let's go! That's right, baby.
Gunshots. I realize that's right.
This year, the gunshots. This year, in frequency, the Knicks went from 4th last year to 14th this year. In possessions, from 3rd last season to 15th. Now, the points per possession has dropped off a lot. We're at 0.79, which is 25th. So the ISO again, but it's a lot because Brunson and Randall haven't been that effective in the paint yet. They're getting there. Brunson totally
Brunson's
there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's totally there. Now, this is a beautiful thing here. Where's my I got my stats all over the place here. Okay, here we go. Passing. Now, I don't have access to that other site that has all the incredible stats, so I got to kind of piece stuff together from NBA.com, which is it's a great resource, but it doesn't give you, can't drill that deep into things. But last season, we were 29th in assists. We're 28th in assists this season. So it hasn't really improved. However, in secondary assist, the hockey assist, we were 27th last season. This year, we're up to 14th.
Yeah.
So we're trending in the right direction. Now, again, we've, missing RJ really hurt that a lot because he's actually was a big connector in terms of creating the hockey assist. He may not be the initial guy who gets the hockey assist. It's the next guy that he passes it to, who passes it to the next guy. But that is a great sign that the ball is moving more, players are moving more. This is the style of play that will translate well in the playoffs. So that stuff has me very hopeful. We just got to get better in the paint.
And I think what it points to is that Tibbs understands that his offense can easily be stopped by just a simple high stole level zone, and being able to have that pull up component and scaling back in your over dependency on driving, it allows you to be able to not be beaten by a simple 2-3 zone in the playoffs, which was thrown at us by Miami. It really gave us a lot of fits because our 3-point shooting was so disgusting. And we over-relied on Brunson, IQ, RJ drives at the basket, which was very efficient. But when you have a really good defensive team with big bodies that know how to double, when to double, when not to commit, it's easy to shut us down. We have a really hard time scoring. And now since you're walking away from over-dependence on isolation and on driving, it opens us up to be a very dangerous team on both sides of the ball. And I really don't think there's anyone in the East now with those stats and those trending metrics in mind that I'm scared of.
You know what, too? There's something else.
And we're only going to get better at doing it. Sorry, James. Go for it.
All right. Now, there's something else happening because it's fun because there still is ISO happening, but they're just doing it differently. They're moving off the ball more. You'll see instances where Brunson is going to the hole, and he'll even be in the post, and then you'll see Randall dive from the top of the key straight down, and then Dunson will dump it off. Like that wasn't happening last year. Also, you'll see a lot more of Randall setting up Brunson for pull-up threes, or you'll just see more interchangeable parts of somebody else creating ISO, but more off-ball cutting. It's not even necessarily like a play call, like this guy screens this guy and this guy. It's just straight up. Hey, he dribbles to the middle. Somebody cut. Somebody rotate.
DiVincenzo's amazing at that.
Yeah, he's a really good cutter. That's been happening
more this season.
Yep,
it hasn't
had that wrinkle.
Yeah, and we haven't done it really well versus the top defensive teams yet. We've done it with the other teams though, like the mid to low level. If you've been able to do it, the next step for us is to do it versus those really high level defensive teams.
Yeah, tonight is a good test for that. Historically, Toronto's been a good defensive team. I haven't looked them up though yet. Have you looked them up defensively? Let's see here.
Defensively, I think they're like top 11. Let me check.
Yeah, they're 11th. 112.1. 112 points. That's a lot for that team to be allowing. I have a question for you guys. If we'll go to Lee first. What if only one thing could happen for the rest of the year? What would it be that would you like to happen with this team? Like it's adding a certain player. Is it using Deuce more? Whatever it is, whatever. Is there one thing that you would love to see happen on this team?
I think ball movement. I want the ball to continue moving, not getting stuck. I think adding DiVincenzo has really been a great addition in terms of keeping that hockey assist. It's him and Hartenstein racking up a lot of those. It has to be. When I watch games, those two and Josh Hart are doing like the most. 1 or 2 dribbles and then immediately trying to find someone in the corner or someone who's cutting to the basket. So yeah, I keep the ball out of Randall's hands and Brunson's hands for more of an 8-9 seconds, dribbling the air out of the ball. And just if people are cooking, feed the hot hand. If they're not, keep it moving to the best possible, highest efficiency shot is found and taken.
All right. Jake?
See, I agree, but I don't want to say the same thing. So
great minds.
I will say my biggest concern is personnel still. Still personnel. I love Dante. He's been a great addition. He's been everything I thought he would be. But the size thing is still a big concern. And I would love for the Knicks to finally add some legitimate size. Best case scenario would be like a small forward / power forward that we can plug in and defend these longer teams and slide RJ back to the 2.
More of a defensive type of power forward?
Yeah, like a 3-and-D guy who can play. My perfect scenario would be a 3-and-D guy who can play small forward, power forward. My next perfect scenario would be a 3-and-D guy who can play the small forward.
So like a Trey Murphy?
Man, I would love a Trey Murphy.
Man, sniper.
I would love a Trey Murphy, but that's a pipe dream. That's not happening. There's no reason for the Pelicans to even.
Yeah. For me, I mean, both of what you've said, for sure. I would love. I think we do need some kind of size. We need to add a player of some kind. Honestly, I mean, it may sound crazy, but if it was like a Taj Gibson 3 seasons ago, you know what I mean? Like that, it could be someone like that, who'll give you quality minutes. He's a good bench guy, knows how to win, can defend, can occasionally hit a shot or 2 for you. I would like that for sure, especially against those longer teams. But for me, this is the thing I would like to see. And unfortunately, it would mean that Quentin Grimes doesn't get his shit together. I would like to see Emmanuel quickly start next to Jalen Brunson. I would like to create the most difficult to deal with backcourt in the East. Those 2 guys are, for one, we won't lose too much on defense. We won't lose too much. We will against some of the bigger players that Grimes does defend. But man, even though people are complaining about IQ's defense this season, I was watching that game the other night. That guy, he defends 3 guys sometimes in the same possession. Sometimes 2 guys at once. He's like a Mitch Robinson in a way. He's unbelievable the way he does that. I think he's just such an incredible defender, and giving him the ability to start and get into the flow of the game from the very beginning, I think it's going to make life much easier for Jalen Brunson. I would love to see it. It'll never happen. Thibs just won't do it, and there's many great reasons for not doing it on this particular team, the way we're structured. But that is something I would love to see.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I like quickly off the bench, man. Like the only reason
he's fantastic. Yeah.
Like the only reason it would be cool to see would be more so for quickly and less so for basketball reasons. Because for me, I like having a point of attack defender in Grimes to kind of take some pressure off of Jalen Brunson, so he won't get hunted full time. I like that, and I like the idea of, you know what, we're gonna close with quickly, and we're gonna punch you in the mouth with our def lineup, and you're not even getting adjusted to it from the opening tip. You're gonna have to get adjusted to this beast.
That's a good point.
5 minutes to go figure out how to deal with it. I like for you spades players. I like holding that big joker to the end and slamming it like, ha, I'll deal with that. I got the big joker. Now what you gonna like? I like that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. He's handling that role perfectly. It's just, I feel like there's another gear, another level for him. Kind of like when Harden wasn't a starter before he went to Houston. goes to Houston, becomes an MVP level kind of guy, leads the league in scoring. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but I really, and you see it now. He's closing games, IQ with Brunson. I remember when we first signed Brunson, and it was like the preseason, and I think I was on with JD and Keys or whatever. And I said, don't be surprised if Jay Brunson and IQ share the court a lot. And they were like, no way, no. There it is. Because he's one of your best players. You got to have your best players on the court, as Jose Castillo says here. Yes, I agree with George. We need our best players in the starting five. But again, the weapon that he is off the bench is tremendous. So, what you gain, you lose something, you gain something. But I think there's another gear that he can unlock.
Oh, I always thought that.
All three of us agree. I mean, these are three massive Quickly fans.
Yeah.
J Ellis was the first one I knew who was a huge Quickly fan. But back when I liked him, I didn't love him. Now I've loved him. Yeah. I love him. Quickly, I like the idea of starting him until we get that final piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a good argument. I love J Ellis's argument about not being able to really steam and prepare for that lineup of death, which involves those two finishing the game together in the backcourt. But until we get that final piece, and I'm assuming that final piece with what Leon has been accumulating is going to be a star or better, I don't see why Quickly can't at least maybe maximize his potential, increase his trade stock, and really become the second, third option on this team. I think already talent-wise, he's probably already third. Him and RJ, so close. I think I can do more things than RJ can, but RJ,
a lot of people think IQ has a higher ceiling.
Yeah, and I agree. I think IQ does have a higher ceiling than RJ. So I'm okay with either way. We keep him on the bench. I think the best point that's been made is J Ellis saying it's for Quickly, and if part of him wanting to re-sign with us is to get that starting spot, I would acquiesce and say, all right, you're our starting two guard, so we don't lose him.
I've actually kind of read that IQ might be our best trade. I heard that IQ might be our best trade chip. It might be. Agreed. I've read Brunson and IQ are like our two best trade chips. So the league might view IQ. I mean, it could be the talent versus and the contract together. Mm-hmm. Why they might view him as number two. But yeah, the league likes IQ right now.
They do. They know. Well, they know.
Yeah.
They see what we see.
Yeah.
Hard not to.
Yeah, it is. It's near impossible. Shout out to the chat. We got a nice group here. Lex the Destroyer, best mod around. I think I saw, who else is he? D Nice,
best mod around. Let's go.
Yeah, Fritz. What's up, Fritz? Good to see you. MBIC. D Nice. What's up, brother?
Oh, what's up?
Jose Castillo. Got a good group here. Josh Smooth. All right, let's keep going here. Quentin Grimes. How worried are you from a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being very worried about Grimes being able to get back to what he was last year and then improve upon that. Now I'm lowering the bar tremendously because at the beginning of the season, I was expecting him to have like a bust out year. Everything was lined up for him perfectly. He's the returning starting two guard, the same exact starting unit as before. Tremendous shooter. Last year, he had a great summer league. The season before, he had a great summer league. I was expecting big things from him. He has not delivered yet so far. And I'm just wondering how concerned you guys are about that.
Who's up first?
Who has more passion about this?
I got a lot of passion.
Okay. All right, Lee.
We both passion people. But go ahead, Lee.
let me bring out the gate with a super hot take. The exact way you worded it, verbatim. Get back to where he was and then improve more. 0. Not scared at all.
You're highly confident that he can do that.
0.
Okay.
I have zero fear that he will eventually return to form and then at some point get better. I don't think that happens this season. I think he struggles all season. Maybe he has a series where he's good or a couple of games in a playoff series where he's good. But I think for the most part, this is a year that he is taking his lumps. Mitch has had that year. RJ had multiple years. This is Grimes' time to get his mental right and develop his fortitude and be able to bounce back game to game, month to month, and season to season. I think the return to form comes next year, and I think the bump comes a year after. We gotta remember he's very, very young, still developing, has yet to show us any kind of intermediate game or a lot of creativity on the three-point line in terms of sidestep, step back threes. He's a lot of catch and shoot, a little bit of pull-up. But we haven't seen the full package of a 3-level scorer yet, even though there were definitely glimpses in
We've
college.
seen glimpses.
Yeah, we've seen
last
glimpses,
year we saw it,
but not the full package that was advertised or that we started seeing evolve to last year. But I think it will come, and the way you word it, 0% fear. But there is worry this year about what's going on with his mind.
So you think he may not be able to even get back to what he was last season this year?
And I think that's okay. I mean, they're human beings fault. It might be something going on off the court. It might be a family issue. That injury from his wrist might be more serious than we thought. He's a young player who has shown college he needed time to grow and evolve his game. He came out as an attack first. Houston under Kelvin Sampson made him a defensive first and a very strong rebounder. So I think he needs time. Tibbs is a very harsh, demanding coach. I think he just needs time to adapt and evolve, but he'll get there eventually.
Okay.
For me, I would say I was a little more worried after yesterday's game because, last year, listen, Grimes started slow last year. He was shooting around, I think, 30% or 32% beginning of the season. Everybody was saying this guy was falling. By the end of the year, he was shooting 38% from three by the end of that season. Now it seems like it's going in reverse. But I'm a little bit more worried than I was last year, only because of the usage rate. The usage rate has dipped a little bit. So I'm wondering if trying to implement the new wrinkles in the offense, I wonder if it's taking even more shots away from Grimes. And I feel like it might be finding more creative ways to get Brunson and Randall the ball on the move. But I'm not sure if it's finding more creative ways to get Grimes the ball. So I'm that's why I'm a little bit worried about it. Also, I was told that there would be plays running for Grimes at the beginning of the season. I have not seen any screens or pin downs running from him. So that's why I feel like him succeeding past last year's mark, I don't think it can happen unless we see more deliberate plays run for him. And I thought at the end of the last season in the playoffs that was going to happen, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but when Brunson was playing the Heat last year and no one else could hit a shot, everybody was overloading on Brunson. Grimes, that's when Grimes started running off of screens towards the end of that Heat series. Like, it didn't happen a lot, but when it happened, it stood out to me because I was like, wait, this doesn't happen before. This is what I've been waiting for all season. So I thought more of that was going to happen coming into this season, and it hasn't yet. So I don't know. I'm hoping that happens at some point. But as of now, the way everything's unfolding, I'm hoping for at least a return to last season Grimes, but I don't see him, growing past that.
And if you don't see that, does that concern you? Do you think it would warrant moving him out of the starting lineup?
Last year he was a top defender in the NBA and he shot 38% from three. So if this year if you end up a top point of attack defender and shooting 38% from three, then I feel like you should be able to keep your starting job.
This year, he's only shooting 36.4% overall. It's pretty low. 35.8% from the three, and he is in plus minus. He is the worst Knick of all.
That's hard to believe.
He's a minus 1.3.
That's very hard to believe.
Yeah. So think of this last year, George. That was RJ.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Patience is key.
just to give us perspective, and now everybody would cut their foot before they trade RJ.
Yeah,
to give us some perspective.
Hey, that starting unit, with the starting unit, the current one is a plus 5.9 on cleaning the glass, which is 58 percentile. It's good, decent, but all of his stats, including those numbers, he's a minus 3.0. So when he's on the court, the Knicks are down 3 points, no matter what.
Made sense. It's a couple Brits by him, or like way too many hesitations to pull the trigger.
Wait, yes, and it cripples a possession when he passes it up, because then he's trying to dribble into traffic and into what, and no one's cutting, no one's going to create a sight line for him because he's supposed to shoot.
I saw a horrible. It was a really horrible montage of like Quentin Grimes doing nothing. It was like Grimes catches the ball, dribbles into traffic, turns around, passes to Randall, dribbles into traffic, loses the ball.
That was a real thing.
Pump fakes, passes to Randall. I was like, bro.
Yeah, I kind of hate those montages because
you can do that to anybody.
You can make a montage.
I hate watching
to prove your point, good or bad. Like you really can. Like.
You can do a montage of me trying to cook. I look like a total crazy idiot.
Listen, I can make anybody look good or bad with a montage. Like it does. Like I really hate those montages.
Me too. I hate that there's enough tape to even create that montage. I was like, wow, I don't want to see this anymore.
Totally.
You play 100 games. If I can put together a Brunson montage to make him look like the worst player in the NBA.
Also true.
I'm gonna shock you guys now. I'm gonna shock you guys. If Quentin Grimes didn't play one single minute at all this season, the Knicks would be in the 93rd percentile on cleaning the glass in points differential. They would be a plus 12. When he's off the court, the Knicks are 12 points better than every team that they face. So he's got to get right. He has to. But see, that's the other level that I'm talking about. Yeah, like we're already like a top 8 team right now, and our 2 guard looks lost and confused. Our 3 guard hasn't recovered from his migraines. Our 3 power forward, our small forward. Our power forward is Julius Randle. And then Mitch has 0 offensive game whatsoever. And yet look at this team. They're one of the top 8 teams in the NBA. There's a lot of room to grow and improve on this team. Let's get into for one, if you guys are in the chat, thank you so much. Just hit the thumbs up button for us and subscribe to both channels, Nick of Time and Into the Knicks-Verse. I catch the live show every night after I drop my video. I just pop right on. Let's see what my boys are talking about. Now we're going to talk about trades. There's some rumors that are popping up, or not. I don't know, but I would call it a rumor, but more so speculation. Oh, here we go. Sorry, here we go. Didn't mean to block all of you guys out. This trade, I think they just posted it a little while ago. Maybe it was this morning. I just didn't see it till now. This is an interesting trade. For the first time, like we mentioned when we opened the show, that we saw a trade from Bleacher Report that didn't make us gag.
I was shocked.
Yeah. It's the Knicks OG trade idea. New York makes huge defensive upgrade and suggested 3-team deal. And here is the bones of it. The Warriors, it's a 3-team trade with the Golden State Warriors, the Toronto Raptors, and the New York Knicks. The Warriors would receive Pascal Siakam and Isaiah Hartenstein. The Raptors would receive Andrew Wiggins, Evan Fournier, Jonathan Kuminga, Quentin Grimes, this year's 2024 first-round pick from the Knicks, and a 2028 first-round pick from the Knicks, and a 2028 first-round pick from Golden State. The Knicks would receive OG Anunoby, Moses Moody, and Gary Payton II. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I think this is a pretty good trade. I think this is a good trade. I'm kind of shocked. Now, obviously, that means it won't happen. Let's break it down. I mean, what are the pluses for Let's look at it from the Raptors' point of view. Who wants to take that? You want to take that, Lee? Look
Sure.
at it from the Raptors' point of
First
view.
of all, this is the greatest Knicks trade, realistic Knicks trade I've seen in my fandom. I've had like 45 minutes to process it since you guys showed me before we started. This is an unbelievable trade. This makes us a dynasty. Hot takes. Sound
Let's go.
We don't win a championship. We're going to be a dynasty. Think about how impossible to score against our starting five. Well, Brunson, but our starting five would be with OG and RJ on the perimeter and Mitch at center. You got Peyton and Moody off the bench. You got shooting off the bench. You got defense off the bench. You keep quickly. You keep a lot of your picks. You still have the package for another star later on.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, sign me up. All right, let's talk about the Raptors. Obviously, 100% dynasty, all that stuff. From the Raptors' point of view, you're basically signaling that the team you're no longer trending for the now. You're trending for the future. You're building around Grady Dick. You're building around what's his name? The rookie of the year.
Barnes. Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, so
Grady Dick's a player. That guy's
yeah. And I think it's showing that he has a little bit more of a ceiling than what was thought with his all-around game, especially on defense. He's improving this year as well. You add Quentin Grimes, so Quentin Grimes slots in as your 2, Scotty Barnes your 3, Grady Dick will probably play some point guard, but maybe even come off the bench until he's ready to start. And you get Andrew Wiggins, probably as your power forward. Some small ball replaces Siakam. Toronto has been playing small ball for a couple of years now, even with the coaching change. So Wiggins is the Canadian. He's playing in front of his
most popular Canadian player.
Stay connected and motivated. And you did some picks. There's 2 Knicks picks. The 2024 is not that great. That's going to be in the late 20s. But that 2028, hopefully, knock on wood, it's an awful pick. But there's potential there. Maybe you can ditch it and trade it before it even conveys. That way, there's still, potential of it becoming really good. And that Warriors pick, I mean, if Siakam doesn't work out, which, my God, I love the pickup for the Warriors, too. I think
it makes sense.
It's all 3 teams in a better position.
Yeah.
For whatever that is. Future, now, whatever.
Also, they need help now. I believe in Kuminga and Moody, but, are they going to pop this year?
Yeah. And if Grimes can have some way less pressure situation than in New York, and now the timeline's been moved back 3 or 4 years for Toronto, he has times to make his mistakes and not worry about maybe losing his starting job in a lineup, and plays against Scotty Barnes, a guy who's athletic and can guard the point of attack to relieve some of that pressure off of him to have to guard the best player every time.
Will Scotty Barnes and Quentin Grimes be best friends, though?
Not him.
Maybe he'll turn him into a him. Maybe it's Scotty who unlocks Quentin.
Yeah, exactly.
I love those trades, man. Pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, some people were saying they wouldn't want to part with Hartenstein, but the thing is, you have to part with something. It's gonna hurt a little bit.
Listen, Hardenstein's a free agent. Just re-sign him.
He's gonna be a free agent. Yeah, after this.
And you got Moody who can shoot and
Moody. Man, that guy, I really like his game.
Me too.
We've been wanting shooting at that center.
And Payne's a champ. Like, he's a backup champion. I love having him in the rotation too.
Totally.
Defensive ace.
This deal makes so much sense for everybody. I mean, it's a shocker. Whoever wrote it should look it up and shout him out. But for once, there is a trade proposal from Bleacher Report that is not gag-inducing. So something to be thankful for. The next guy, so we're all in agreement. This would be a good trade. Anunoby, this is the way you add an Anunoby to your team. You give up, a Fournier, which is salary. You have to move a starter because Anunoby is going to start. So that's Grimes. And you're going to have to give up some picks. And there you go. There's 2 picks right there. I mean, if they want a third one, we can give them one of the protected ones as an addition. If they want a 4th pick, should I say. And then, can work something else out. But I think I haven't done it through the trade machine. I don't know if the salaries match up or something. I would imagine they did it.
That's the thing. That's the thing with the Raptors, though. They've turned down 3 firsts before. So I don't know where their head is at, but maybe this season, with the timeline shortening, when you're about to expire, you don't have the leverage you had last year. So maybe they'll be willing to go lower this year. But at the same time, the Knicks and the Raptors are still beefing. They're going to court. So this might just not happen just because they're petty and owners with money are petty.
Yeah. That's another reason why it probably wouldn't happen. Yeah. This guy, I think you guys did talk about him last night.
Yep.
Right. Bojan.
All in.
I was like at first like, but when you consider it's what is it, Fournier and in the Detroit second round, is that what it is? I would do this in a heartbeat.
Same.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
Why? Why do you trade Fournier, who can shoot threes and not play defense, for another player who can shoot three and not play defense?
Well, what Bogdan gives you, he's actually more of a playmaker as well, and he's a little bigger. He actually is a slightly better defender than Fournier, which isn't saying much. He's like an improvement on everything Fournier gives you, but he has a better handle and he's a better playmaker. He's a better passer. You don't think he's a better passer?
Yes, I just remember specifically the Knicks picking on him when we were playing. I remember we were going to involve him in pick and roll and just make him work, and it worked. And now we're looking for defenders to keep, to get taller, to put next to Brunson in the starting lineup.
I don't see him as a starter.
Me neither.
I don't see him as a starter. I see him as a bench guy.
So whose minutes is he taking?
Whoever doesn't have it that game. Also, as we go through into the season, I mean, last year, Randall wore down. You need extra pieces. I mean, if we're really going to make a legitimate run in this playoffs, we have to have more than we need. And right now, Fournier doesn't qualify as that because he's just out of the rotation.
Yeah. For me, it's the extreme low risk. That's my number one reason for trying it, is that you're getting a guy who averaged almost 23 points per game last season. And like when we got Fournier, he struggled mightily with Boston the season before. Bogdan was playing very well in Detroit before then. And it's kind of a similar, like the way the team is structured, not a lot of shooting, but a little undersized as some of the wing positions, and a center that has no offensive ability. I think he was able to thrive as a sharpshooter at the four, at a stretch four, and coming in for Randall. If Randall's having a bad night or a great night and he sits, you got a guy who can score 9 points quickly on 3-3. Mm-hmm. Like that, for their pick and Fournier, who's like not a non-factor, I pull the trigger, but he has to come off the bench. Doesn't scare.
I'm not giving a pick away for a guy whose minutes, like realistically, let's really think about this. Every player that we've traded for that does not play defense does not see the floor. Every one of them is out. Kemba Walker is out. Mm-hmm. Evan Fournier, you can't even trade him, so you put him on the bench. So we have to make moves knowing that Tibbs is our coach and knowing that he does not like having bad defense anywhere on this roster, with the exception of Jalen Brunson, because he's just that phenomenal offensively.
Yeah.
So you're going to bring him in knowing he loves defense and he's going to take Josh Hart's minutes?
Sometimes against bigger teams, yeah.
Okay.
It's just
bigger teams.
It's like teams, another tool in the toolbox. May not use it that often, but like Lee said, 9 quick points. He can give you 9 points in 5 minutes. And
the size in high school had to turn big for nothing. Size matters when you do something with it. What's if you're big and you can't defend? What use are you?
Yeah, he is a liability. Let's put it this way: if this trade were to happen, it would Thibs would have to have blessed it. They're not going to pull a Cam Reddish on Thibs with a Bojan. They're not going to do that. He will have blessed the deal, and he will have figured out a way to use him. So that part I'm not worried if the trade actually happens, because I don't think it would happen in spite of Thibs. I think it would happen because Thibs wanted him. Like Hayward, Gordon Hayward from the Hornets. He's another guy that they're interested in. Or Thibs really likes him. But again, I don't see. If there's no way Leon pulls this trigger and then he just sits on the bench and does nothing.
Also to push back a little bit on the Kemba Fournier reference, those guys came in as starters. And what I'm advocating for, and it sounds like George is advocating for the same thing, he needs to come off the bench. And he's not part of a consistent 9-man rotation. I think if Hartenstein's not bringing it, or Hart's not bringing it guarding some of those wings, or at least not bringing it offensively, he can come in and has proven with 3 teams, he didn't average 18 points. He did with Indiana, he did with Utah, now he's doing with Detroit. Like, this is who he is a dominant scorer. And he has some on-ball ability too, to put the ball on the floor and to score off the dribble to get to the basket. So I love it if it's a cheap, no low risk trade.
Yeah,
I don't want to give up a Knicks pick or any of our young players, none of that. But Fournier and their pick, yeah, I'll do it. It's worth a trial.
Yeah, because we have to do something with Fournier's contract at some point before we can't just let the season end. We've done nothing with that. Just,
I mean, you could still let the season
written them checks
and then still trade him in the summer. I mean, it would suck for him.
Yeah. Well, right. We have a team option, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would suck for him, but could do
so it's 2-1 on here. 2 of us are in favor. J Ellis is not. We definitely see the issues with him defensively. But I think what he gives you offensively is so much more valuable to this particular team, this Knicks team. Right now, we're the number 1 defensive team in the NBA. So it's not like we're hurting for defense right now. What we do need is a little more offense. Last year, we had like an incredible offense in terms of points production, not necessarily efficiency, but in terms of points production. But this guy's a very efficient shooter, and he's smart. He's savvy. You know, I like that about him. But then again, I'm not gonna die on the sword for this one at all.
Yeah.
The next guy is interesting because a lot of people are. Some people are salivating at this idea.
Hell no.
I personally think this is not a good fit for the Knicks. J Ellis.
Wait, hold on, am I on the wrong screen right now? Wait, I am.
The Miami Heat and the New York Knicks are preferred trade destinations for DeMar DeRozan per Sam Amick of The Athletic.
Hell no. No.
Hell no.
We all agree. Hell no.
Wait, do I hear an ad playing somewhere? Sorry, guys. I don't think you hear it.
No, I don't hear it over here.
Yeah. Okay, it's only been annoying me. Cool. All right, so I'll talk about it and try to block it out. So, yeah, DeMar DeRozan, man, very deadly. He would definitely give us another scorer for sure, and we need some scoring help in that starting lineup. But again, we have every move we make, we have to make with Jalen Brunson in mind, because we have to cover up for whatever he does not do. Jalen Brunson is not a top-notch defender, even though he does give you 110%. He's not a top-notch defender. So he would aid in one area and then hurt in another. And on top of that, he's not like a three-point shooting guy, so he shrinks the floor a little bit too. So although I like the kid, ultimately, I don't think he's the best fit for us.
Yeah, there's better places for him.
Mm-hmm.
So so really, we're back to this one here. This is the one. I'll tell you, this type of trade happens. There could be a parade.
Dynasty.
There could be a parade. Well, yeah. It's always got a one up.
Dynasty, bro.
Love that. I mean, that would be wild. That would be a wild team. Man, okay, so this was tweeted out earlier, but he just told Stephen Bondi, "I'm playing, bro." So
that's one of the things I love about him, man. He just like he wants to be out there in an age of the type of persona that needs to be catered to and pampered. And today's younger generation, Randall is the opposite of that. He's got a very old school mentality. If I can walk on the court, I'm going to play ball, and that's like that is, for all of his faults, that might be his greatest strength. I really love that about him. He always wants to get the fans their money's worth. He's going to try his ass off. It's just he needs to realize if he doesn't have it, pass it.
Make that decision quicker.
Yeah.
He often waits till it's dire.
Yeah, and that's like, yeah, exactly.
It's like,
emphasis on die. It's like,
and that's why his passes have so much smoke on them, people are like, people don't pass it to Mitch. Mitch can catch passes. It's just Randall's throwing him at like 110 miles an hour. It's like heaters.
Yeah.
He threw a pass the other day to somebody out on the wing that it literally almost bore a hole right through his hands. Like the guy barely caught the ball. He was like, and he froze when he caught it. He was like, oh shit.
Definitely felt that.
Now what do I do? Man. I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about it. That's why that Phoenix loss pissed me off so much, man. That was just unacceptable to me.
Yeah, that should have been a win, man. That whole quarter off business was fugazi.
I was on our court.
Game, man.
On our court, we let that happen.
I'm mad that even on our post game, I forgot to even mention that Randall didn't even line up for a rebound correctly when
yep.
I forgot, somebody was shooting a foul shot, and he was arguing with the ref, and then Mitch was shooting a foul shot. So you definitely want to be lined up for a rebound when Mitch is shooting a foul shot.
Oh yes, that's right. He was not. He was complaining. He was talking to the ref.
Right.
So he wasn't on the free throw line, and Mitch missed.
And the ball went right by where he should have been.
The ball went right where Randall would have been.
That
was terrible.
Someone brought up in the chat, I just went to a quick detour, Lauri Markkanen. If he becomes available and Utah keeps tanking, I know that Danny Ainge is a devil and he's going to ask way too high of an asking price, but I would consider selling the farm for Lauri. I think Lauri has played his best basketball at the 4, which unfortunately is where Julius Randle is stuck for the rest of his life. So I don't know if the fit would be there, but I've been watching a lot of Utah lately, and man, the dude he's a really underrated playmaker. Not a strong rebounder, but a really underrated playmaker, and the guy can score from all over the court. His game is very Randall-esque. Him and Randall, I don't think the fit would be bad like DeRozan, because Markkanen thrives on the perimeter as well. So it would be fantastic to have those two guys as weapons if we could keep some of our core pieces. But that's a guy that I would be all in on.
Well, Markkanen would slide in at the 3, and then RJ would take Grimes' spot.
But we gotta remember the other side of the ball.
Yeah,
this 3 and D. You can't.
That's what I'm saying. If we keep the core of our defense intact, the guys that are making us the second best defense in the NBA, I think we can cover enough for him. We would definitely slip in those standings, but it might be equal.
But that guy can shoot.
Yeah.
Is he still? Is he a 50, 40, 90 guy this year again? Yeah, he's still. I mean, whatever it is, he will be that for a long time.
Yeah.
His game isn't dependent on speed.
He's only 26.
Yeah, he's 26.
Yeah, he's shooting 48 from the field and 38 from 3 this season.
So almost 50-40.
Giving you a steal a game, block a game.
And at 7 feet tall. Right? He's 7, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I would love Lauri Markkanen on this team.
Me too.
Somewhere like that. I was talking to JD and stuff about this because we're all in agreement. Like Levine, no way. That's why you don't pay guys that kind of crazy money. Now you're stuck. I think teams would be more interested in him if he didn't have a $45 million salary. Yeah. You're paying him like he's a 1, like he's a superstar, but he's at best a 3rd on a contending team.
Yeah,
that's at best.
Yeah, that's the problem with when you have young players who flash promise and he shot as well as he did. Like your franchise is kind of in a weird place where you're almost kind of forced to overplay your young players that you drafted sometimes, and that's pretty much what happened to the Bulls. Like he was injury prone, but he shot well. He was shooting like 38% from 3, 39% from 3. He was averaging 25 points a game at 25, 24.
I think there's a period where he was shooting even higher than that from 3.
Yeah, so it's like sometimes you see that as a franchise and you draft that.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of roll it. Like imagine if Quentin Grimes was drafted here and was scoring 25 a game and shooting 40% from 3.
Right. Yeah, he did at the 40.
And then because we're talking about giving Quickly the bag right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Quickly
that bag might be $30 million per season.
That might be $30 million. You know what I'm saying?
This is 45 to 50. I think doesn't he even make $55 million at some point at the end of the contract, Zach? Some crazy numbers.
Yeah, I
is
think like
insane.
55
I know
or
that.
something close. So, like, it sucks. Like, I can see how you can get roped into that if you're a team who drafted a player, you culminated, and he's still young.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, take that next step.
Yeah. Especially, Jay, when you're not a free agent destination.
Exactly.
You're kind of middling. You had to work through the draft. You had to also have to work through trades. You're stuck. It's like we let him go. We're back to square one.
Like, because we kind of face the same thing with KP. Now, imagine what happens. Let's rewind the clock, right?
But KP was an all-star.
Right, but still, KP was an all-star, but remember what his numbers were before he got injured. Like, he was an all-star, yes, but there were a lot of questions on whether he could become a first option or not.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, he came out and said, I'm way better as a third option. But if he was still healthy and played for the Knicks the way he was playing, he would have got paid like a first option.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dallas
then we would have looked around.
Option.
Huh?
The Mavs paid him like a first option.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then we would have looked up like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. That's a great point. We also wouldn't have RJ.
Exactly. So, I mean, it seems obvious now, but when the player is 23, 24, and they're flashing brilliance, it's a hard call to make in the moment.
Cut that, clip it.
There you go.
That's good insight.
All right, Randall's definitely playing. Okay, let's talk about the game. It's going to start pretty soon, and we're going to wrap this up soon. And I thank everybody for joining us. It's been great. I've been looking at the chat as well. It's a great conversation going on there. I often go back later and kind of skim through and reread them and stuff. What do you think? You think we got enough to take care of business tonight in Toronto?
Yeah.
I'm never going to say no, but I've been saying all year, I worry about the long teams.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned. Like we were saying before, we haven't really beaten the Raptors in a while. I don't think we beat them last year. Right? Nope. I don't think we did.
Nope, we almost beat them, but
they
didn't call a foul on RJ when he went to the rim.
Oh, yeah. That's right. RJ, it's going to take him a while to get back to where he was, if he can get back to where he was. The migraines obviously have really impacted him tremendously. I tweeted out yesterday. I mean, it's like night and day, his numbers, pre-migraine and post-migraine. Because that's been a very disappointing thing. It's kind of sad. I was so excited about the leap that we were watching him do. Yeah. Oh, it was incredible, and it felt real. And then these injuries.
The thing is, the leap. We'll see what happens, because RJ typically, when he gets injured, he doesn't. He gets out of rhythm really quick. He gets out of rhythm really quickly when he gets injured.
Yeah.
If the leap is real, though, I'm hoping it is. He will be back. He will be back. That's what we see.
He's rushing his shots. He's trying to get the shot off too quick. Mm. And I know it's a great thing to be able to do. Remember, Grimes was doing that last year, just flicking. But when they're not going in, you should take like a half beat. Just square yourself up. Make sure you're in your rhythm. Not accelerate, not try to get the shot off before the guy's coming to close on you. If your shot gets blocked. Because if you're going to miss, you're going to miss. You know what I mean? If you're rushing, take a good shot. That's what I want RJ to get back to doing, which he was doing at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, the thing that worries about me, the Raptors, their assist guy is averaging double digits, and this is the perfect kind of situation for a Gary Trent Jr., a Malachi Flynn, Chris Boucher to go off and just have like 23, 25 points on us and just hit 3 or 4 threes. Those are the type of guys that just like, ever since James Dillon bought this team, the no-namers, every game it feels like some bench guy comes in, just lights us up from the perimeter or just gets buckets in the under the basket. So if we can contain the other guys, I feel good with Randall playing, that Siakam and him kind of cancel each other out, and Mitchell Robinson's going to feast on Podol. Podol's only averaging 8 boards a game, like 10 points a game. Mitch this is a game for Mitch to dominate, and Brunson's going to cook Schroeder. There's no competition there. So the 1 and the 5 we have a huge advantage of, and those are two most important positions.
It depends. Like if they put OG on Brunson, because teams do that, they'll put the long way, and then it could be a long night. Also, I love Mitch. Pirtle's a struggle versus Mitch's struggle versus Pirtle. I I remember when we played the Spurs and Pirtle was kind of giving it to Mitch. There's not a lot of centers who give Mitch problems, but Pirtle be giving Mitch a little bit of problems. So I would watch that too. And even Siakam's annoying too because he found a way last year to just annoyingly flop his way to freedom. And he was like, I feel like he had ran into foul trouble a lot last year. So there's a lot for me to kind of worry about with this matchup because I've seen. Yeah. I hope we win, but I already know this is going to be a tough one with all the long arms and the passing lanes. Like we usually like to have 2 on the ball when we drive to the middle to kick it out. But when you drive to the middle of these guys, you have long arms everywhere that prevents the kick out pass. There's a lot to contend with.
Yeah,
there's a lot to contend with. So I hope we win. But I'm like I said, I remain worried about these type of teams.
Yeah, I'm concerned. This could be the kind of game we drop. We just played last night. We weren't convincing last night. Now we're going up to Toronto. They're hungry. They have it out for the Knicks. They actually like to play against us. Scotty Barnes, Siakam, those guys, they love to hurt us. And then there's the others too. Like you mentioned, Gary Trent Jr. could go off on us at any moment. So I'm a little concerned. And also, we are 0-2 in division games, so it'd be nice to get a W against a division rival.
I'm gonna say I'm not worried at all. I think we're gonna smack them.
Good.
I'm gonna be optimistic.
Good. What about buzzer beaters? Was it about buzzer beaters? Comment here. What about Spida? I thought we were waiting on him. He turned down his extension with Cleveland.
I'm good.
I think was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, no, I was wondering how you guys feel about
in general. In general, I don't like small backcourts in general.
Agreed.
Which is why Quickly is my second favorite player on this team, but I don't want to start him because I don't like small backcourts because I hate what that does defensively. So to me, Donovan Mitchell kind of fits in that same vein. I love him. If he was here, I welcome him with open arms. I hope it works. The best argument I've heard for it working was the Toronto team that had
Lowry and Van Vliet.
Right. That was the best. Yeah. That was probably the best argument I've heard of scenario of that working. But that's the only one I've heard. So I mean, I guess we have to kind of replicate that type of feel if we did get him. But I'm a little skeptical.
Or when the Trailblazers had McCollum and Lillard.
That's not a good example. I mean,
no, not defensively.
They
got to a Western Conference Finals once, right? I think they did.
I think so.
I think one time they did. Yeah. All right. Well, the game I think it just started. I hope we just run away with it, but it's never quite that way with the Raptors and the Knicks. But it would be nice to see us have like a real resounding victory over a quality team, because Toronto's a quality team. Yeah, they're 9-10, but they're almost a 500 team. They're a quality team. Hopefully they'll be 9-11 after tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All righty. Well, let's wrap this up, guys. Thanks for everyone for joining us. It's been great. Hit the thumbs up button for us and drop your comments if you think of something later on. Drop your comments. If you're rewatching this, definitely drop your comments. Lee, want to shout out anybody or let them know where they can find you?
Yeah, I want to shout out Ebony and Ryan G, the other half of the KOT team. We got a rookie of the year in Ebony. Ebony, honestly, man, like every conversation I've had with her through text, DM, Twitter, on the show, I'm like always like, damn, this girl knows ball. Like she's just a really smart basketball mind, and I like the way she sees the game too. She has a very original point of view. It's not like copy and paste with a bunch of Twitter takes. She's just super smart. Ryan G, obviously, brother in arms. I love that guy. So I also want to say you two are my mentors and inspirations. You two specifically more than anyone else. You two guys are the ones I look to want to get into this podcast game. J Ellis, 1,000 thank yous for the rest of my life for letting me join the show. George been having me on too. So you two are specifically for me personally huge mentors to me, people I look up to.
Well, J Ellis was my inspiration.
Let's go! All the love, baby.
Yeah.
All the love. So
My son and I, we used to watch. Hey, let's watch. CP and J Ellis. Come on.
It's so weird hearing that, and
Yeah.
I was just trying to like get some stuff off the ground, and it's like it's so weird. But I appreciate that.
Find me on Twitter. None of that stuff matters more than finding out you two guys. Love both of y'all. Appreciate all the opportunities.
Thanks, man. You've been an amazing addition to the whole Knicks community in general.
Facts.
Great voice.
Yeah, I would like to shout out Dexter for being on the show last night for sure. He one of the nicest people.
Oh yeah, I like him very much.
Nicest people out there that you ever meet.
I watch all his videos.
Right, and I also like to shout out Lee and Ryan and Ebony for carrying me and doing all the dirty work while I just float on and make the show great. All right, so I appreciate you guys for carrying me.
Humble.
Awesome. Well, shout out to Alexa Destroyer. Thanks so much for holding it down. And let's see who else is around. Josh Smooth, Anthony 212. Thank you guys for joining us. All right, we're going to sign off. We're going to go watch this game. Thanks to everybody. Hey, look at that kitty. Oh, look at that kitty. It's a cutie. That's funny. All right, guys. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.